Welcome to a podcast of total terror. Night of the Nerdy Laser.
Welcome, everybody, to a Night of the Nerdy Laser podcast. This is episode 148. I'm your host, as always, Richard Rollercoaster of Love. Yule.
I'm just tired, Jeff Lown.
Jeff, the Tiger Lown.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That was my Michael Buffer impression. So here we are, Jeff, once again. This is the trilogy of disaster. Maybe not a disaster movie of so much, but a thriller that is one heck of a roller coaster. We're talking about 1977's Rollercoaster. And am I right? Did that come out the same year, or did I just say 77? Because
no, you're right.
Black Sunday. Man, it came out the same year as Black Sunday?
Yeah.
Look, we didn't even plan that. Did Airport come out in 77 too?
I want to say that one was 80, but that's probably wrong. I'll tell you right now.
Because Airport, ladies and gentlemen,
70.
is next week. 70. Because I think they do Airport 77, Airport like 78. Yeah.
I was going to say we could do Airport 77 because that was in 77.
I mean, we could. I don't. No, we already said we're doing Airport. It's fine. So yeah, welcome everybody. I hope you're doing good. And Black Sunday was last week. Black Friday was last year, and it was also a movie with Bruce Campbell. But Black Sunday was about the Goodyear blimp taking over the Super Bowl. Yeah. And the roller coaster movie we're talking is, do you understand why I said that it has ties to Speed? Like, doesn't it feel a lot like Speed?
Yeah.
I mean, with the cat and mouse kind of thing. I mean,
yeah, less anticlimactic.
Oh, almost the same ending.
Yeah, I do ending just a thump, and you're like, what?
I like the. Well, I mean, we're not supposed to ruin movies, but anyway.
Well, me making a noise, I don't think that gives anything away.
Well, I was gonna say do something that ruined the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna talk about that, but first, let's. I'll tell you a little ditty about Jack and Diane. This past week, me and Corey Keelan from Spooky Dudes went to a convention, and we met some horror-centric people, Jeff.
Oh, yeah?
Really just person, I guess. Well, I mean, she's sort of horror-centric. But, well, we met Walter. Walter, I keep saying Phelan, but I really don't know if that's actually how you pronounce his last name. But it's Dr. Satan!
Oh.
From House of a Thousand Corpses and the deleted scene of Devil Rejects. We talked to him.
When you said that, I thought you were going to say you met Chris Hardwick or
something. Fat Chris Hardwick? Fat drunk Chris Hardwick?
Is he now?
Oh, no. I mean, that was House of a Thousand Corpses. Yeah. Like, I mean, he's gone on record like that. That was a very,
Yeah. That guy's been. I used to like watching his Talking Dead and all that. We'll get into that after. Let's go ahead and go forward. I'll bump that into what I'm going to talk about.
Okay, so Corey had bought us a photo, an in-costume photo op with Walter. He does these in-costume photo ops as Dr. Satan. Usually it's a prosthetic, but he has to use different artists and it never looks right. So he's kind of made this easier thing that he can put on. And it looked really cool. And when we get I've got a picture of it, but it's a picture of a picture. It doesn't look that great, but I'll see if Corey got the digital. And I'll post it over on Instagram, Night of the Nerdy Laser. And, but we stopped at his table before the photo op, and he's really cool, man.
Yeah.
He's just a cool dude. He did tell us about, they recorded or they filmed a scene where Dr. Satan was on a talk show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like where a bunch of them were on a talk show, and they just Rob Zombie was just filming stuff because they gave it to him. And so apparently he said there is a director's cut coming out of Devil's Rejects.
Oh, wow, really?
And yes, I was like, wait, what? Because I mean, I think he said it in passing. Like, I mean, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Because dear God, that thing needs like a new. It needs a new everything. I mean, it just needs an overhaul. I mean,
did they get
Christ.
a 4K? Did they put that trilogy out on 4K, or was it just blue?
I think it's just a steelbook.
Oh.
It's just blue steelbook.
But the thing with those movies is they've been released so many times because they're what studio put them out? Universal. Yeah. So they've been put out a lot, but there's one. It's on the DVD only, I think, of Devil's Rejects, or maybe it's House, one of them. But it's a doc, like a full-length doc that's on it. But it's only on the DVD.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've watched the Devil's Rejects documentary, and it's on the DVD.
That's it.
I used to watch it a lot, and then I mean, there's a deleted scene with Dr. Satan and Rosario Dawson.
Oh. I like Rosario Dawson,
and it's a great scene. Like, but Rob Zombie talked about why he didn't add it. I mean, it just kind of felt out of place in a way, but. I mean, it sucks because that would have kind of tied it to House a little bit, you know, but Devil's Rejects really could stand on its own. It doesn't even need House.
You could look at them as a trilogy or independent movies, really, if you want. It's just reoccurring characters that somehow sneak in.
Yeah. So anyway, we did that. The photo op there, I mean, the photo op was okay. But it was very unorganized, kind of a disaster. We waited way too long for our print, and we were starving, and it just didn't turn out to be that great, that part. But you know, it is what it is. But I also, because I love the movie Pump Up the Volume,
yeah,
I met Samantha Mathis.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you know who she is? Have you seen Pump Up the Volume?
No, you've told me to watch it.
You have to watch it. It's on the Internet Archive or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think I might have it. I don't know.
I mean, I have the shitty cardboard DVD of it. That fucking thing.
Jewel case or whatever.
Oh, God, they're the worst. So I didn't know if she'd have anything Pump Up the Volume. So I actually took that, and I'm like, God, I don't want her to sign this. But so luckily she did have one picture of Pump Up the Volume. But she was also in The Punisher for a little bit. She was Frank's wife. So, but she's been in tons of stuff. I mean, a lot of cool stuff. She was very nice. I mean, you could tell it really, I mean, she didn't have a long line. A lot of other people did. Dick Warlock was there, and his line was insane the whole day.
I'm sure.
Also, Kevin Durand was there, who is, I mean, he's been in everything. He was in Lost, like 10 episodes, but I still don't really know who he is. In Lost, like, he's only in 10 episodes, and he apparently played an asshole, but I just can't picture it. I even watched the scene, and I can't even, I can't, I don't know. But it's episodes out of 400 or whatever. I mean, you know.
There's a lot.
I mean, there's 24 times 7, so not 400,
6.
but that's close.
6 seasons.
Oh, was it 6? It wasn't 7? It felt like a lot longer than 7.
Yeah, no.
So anyway, he's in everything, like The Strain, Abigail, and he's the new Caesar in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So that's where I see a lot of his TikToks and stuff, because him and the other guy, it's just funny because it's natural to them, but like, you know, they're on some talk show like Kelly and Regis or whatever it's called, and they're like, what is it like to be apes? And he's like, well, I thought it was gonna be real weird, and then Noah got on set or whatever the guy's name was, and he was like, oh, and they just start like acting like apes to each other, and like for 30 seconds they're just like acting like apes. It's just funny. But he's the new Maximus Caesar or whatever they call him. Proximus Caesar. I don't know. I haven't seen Kingdom. I did the trilogy, but I have yet to see the new one. So
you're gonna try to go before it's out of theaters?
No, I mean at this point, I'll just get it on digital or whatever if I want to watch it.
Yeah.
Or just wait for it to come out. I mean, I don't want to buy like a quad set because I know they're going to keep making these movies. So
aren't they doing a new trilogy or something like that?
I mean, the hope or the plan is that they've done one trilogy, they're doing another trilogy, and then they'll do another one.
Have you seen all the originals as well?
No, I haven't. I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, same. And I don't know. I get like where they went with the newest trilogy they did, like, Mankind, The Decline, and like The End or whatever. But this is truly a war of the Planet of the Apes. But I don't know where they would go. Like, what other story is there to tell? Like, the Apes one.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I think the new one. I mean, I haven't watched a trailer really or anything, but I know there is a human in it. This I do, and I did hear that it takes place 300 years later. So I think it's sort of where the people are slaves, and like where the first one was,
Right? Yeah.
I mean, they can keep telling. You can keep telling stories. I mean, and especially if you're gonna give the luxury of time, not traveling, but time jumping for trilogies. I mean, fuck, I'll take. Yeah, I mean, the original was like a space shuttle, going to a different planet.
All right.
So,
but was it? Mark Wahlberg was just a remake of the first one then.
Yeah, I mean, it was their own thing, and I don't hate that movie. A lot of people do, but I mean, I liked it.
I didn't mind it. Tim Burton.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, Samantha Mathis, Walter. Yeah, it's cool. I like cons.
Yeah, I know you do.
So much I've ran a couple, but
and I've avoided them. But so I'll jump in then, I guess, with the stuff I want to mention. So I was talking about Chris Hardwick just because I used to watch a lot of Talking Dead before Walking Dead or after or whatever it was.
After? Yeah.
I think it was after. It would make more sense that way. Why would they spoil it and talk about it first? But yeah, no, I really used to like follow Nerdist a lot, like that company started.
I listen to that podcast all the fucking time.
Yeah, he had a lot of good interviews on there. He was one of the earlier podcasts.
Not even just him. Like, I mean, Jonah Ray and I don't know the other person, but the three of them together, I loved them.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad they've kind of gone on and done other things too. But like, that's the other thing. Like that show, and then something happened with him, right? Where he almost got canceled or whatever for some.
An ex came out and said some stuff, but he survived.
Yeah, and then he was hosting that show on NBC with the.
I love it. So it's The Wall, and it's the most ridiculous show ever. Like, I know. I'm going to talk about Friends for the second week in a row. But so there's an episode where Chandler wants to give Joey money because Joey's broke, but Joey doesn't want to just take money because of his pride or whatever.
Yeah.
So Chandler invents this card game called Cups. He just starts playing it. He doesn't even invent it. He's like, well, I'll play it for it. And they're like, what are we going to play? He's like, Cups. And so so every hand Joey plays, he's like, you got a full cup. And he's winning all this money. And that's what The Wall reminds me of. Because, like, I don't understand the game at all. Like, there's green balls and red balls, and you have to use 3 in order to use the 1. And it's all over the place. But the funniest part about that Friends episode is so later on, Joey complains about being broke, and he's like, you just won all this money. He's like, I know, but I was feeling so confident that I played Ross, and I lost.
I think you've seen that one.
So he lost to a made-up game. Oh, it's great. No, I mean Chris Hardwick. I mean, like I liked him for a long time. I really did, and it's not like I don't like him now. He just doesn't do stuff that I particularly follow.
Yeah,
I mean, Singled Out. I was 19 years old, whatever, watching Singled Out. It was great.
Was he the host on that?
He was the co-host with Jenny McCarthy.
I know I watched that, but I don't remember.
I mean, I probably was younger than 19, honestly. I think that show came out in like 94, mid 90s or so.
Yeah. Well, I was going to take this one direction, but we're going this way. So, speaking of like podcasts and people I used to like listen to a lot and stuff, that Camille Nanjiani guy used to have a podcast. I think he did with his like wife, Emily, or something like that. They kind of did like nerdy stuff and podcasts.
I think so.
Video games. I used to like them. And I kind of got into it like towards the end of it because like I remember they're like, hey, we're gonna step away and take a break for a while, and then they just never came back.
Never came back, yeah.
And he did one called the X-Files files too that I really liked, and then he never came back because then he got into acting and people like him more and he got more popular. And now he doesn't do any of that. He's a big Disney movie Marvel guy. So I don't know, whatever. That kind of bums me out, but like. All those shows and stuff I really used to enjoy, and they're just gone. Like I don't listen to as many podcasts as I used to. Like
I still listen to quite a few, but mostly it's just my friends or people that I've met, or I mean, I do listen to some celebrity ones. I listen to the Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. I really, really, really like that show. He just interviews celebrities, but it turns out I really like Michael Rosenbaum.
The Scout podcast was okay. Scout and Danielle.
You know what the funniest part of that is?
Huh.
So I went to Scarefest last year and I saw them live, right?
Yeah, I remember
Never listened to them again. I have not listened to one single I think I turned it on and they were talking about female stuff and I never went back to it.
I don't know what happened. Like if I unfollowed a lot of stuff on just social media in general, and I must have not followed them anymore because like now I don't get any of their little teaser promos and stuff they would cut. So I think that plays into it. But yeah, I don't listen to too much.
You should listen to a show called Insight with Chris Van Vliet.
The name sounds familiar.
Well, he's an interviewer, but he does wrestling interviews mainly now. But you'd really like it. He interviews new wrestlers, older wrestlers, all kind. He's interviewed The Rock, John Cena, like big names and stuff. He's a great interview, and he does once a week. He just does a Ask Chris Van Vliet. It's a good way to keep up with current wrestling too, without necessarily
having to spend
it.
15 hours a week watching it.
Correct. I listen to the Jeff Jarrett podcast, My World. I like it. I listen to the Joe Rogan Experience reluctantly most of the time. I mean, I only listen if I really want to hear the guest.
You'll have to let me know which ones are the alien episodes, because those are the ones I would be most interested in.
Dude, Terrence Howard, just go to Joe Rogan Experience. Type in Terrence Howard. Just listen to the first 15 minutes. Joe Rogan says like 30 words, and Terrence Howard, I don't understand anything that comes out of his mouth. Nothing. He talks about how he's legit serious about remembering being inside his mother's womb and coming out, and
it's so weird. I don't get that.
What?
I said I've heard other people say that too, that they remember stuff like that, and I'm like, no, you don't.
And then Saturday Night Freak Show I really like. That's a good horror movie podcast where they talk about movies. TV Toy Cast is a good figure one. Mark Summer Unwraps is a pretty good one.
Isn't it?
What?
That's Breaker's show, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's Breaker.
You can go listen to him on in the archives when he came out.
We did episode 150. Oh, we haven't done 150. 120 then, sure. We'll say that.
We'll talk more about podcasts off air, because I mean, I don't need the plugs. They're doing okay. But no, and then the other last little quick things, the whole Walking Dead thing. Did I tell you I started rewatching that? Oh yeah, I did. I think that I even mentioned it. I finished season 1.
Yeah, because I made fun of you.
Yeah. Finished season 1, started season 2, and kind of stalled out. But lately, I've been watching TV shows and had interest in it. But I could only watch like 5 or 6 episodes. Then I have to watch something else for a while. I can't binge TV shows for some reason. I can't. Even when I'm like working for like background noise or something, I can't do it.
Yeah,
but I've been enjoying it a little bit more.
There was a day I was sick, which surprise, surprise, wasn't the last 3 weeks. It was actually like 6 weeks ago. That was great. I binged like 5 episodes of that X-Men 97.
Yeah,
I was proud of myself.
Good. I still need to watch that. I
haven't watched it since. I've seen the first 6 episodes, I think.
Yeah, I got 2 posters for that show because I had like rewards on the Disney program or something like that, just from having a membership or something. And I gave him to Peyton to hang on to because I figured he used to be real big into the X-Men stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe he'll frame them, but I'm sure he'll just leave them in the poster tubes and not do anything with them. So that's his choice. But yeah, no, I did that, and then we've talked about it a little bit too over the past few weeks, but just comic books and stuff again. Kind of got back into those, and I've been reading some stuff. Have you read anything else new?
No, the past week I've been wanting to. I've got a stack. I've been wanting to read the Blood Hunt series. That's the one it's currently Marvel's thing, where it's Marvel versus vampires and stuff.
Yeah.
And gosh, they sucker me into so much stuff. Marvel has this thing now, and it's going to become a big thing where like the Red Band trailers.
Yeah.
So they're putting Blood Hunt in, and I didn't bring it up here with me, but they are putting Blood Hunt. Like, you can buy a normal like PG-13 version of it, or you can buy like the Red Band version that comes in like a red poly bag thing and stuff. So I'll try to take a picture of it.
Yeah, send me what you got. That way I could figure out what else I could get into. I was looking
but from what I know is it's not actually that bloody. Like, there is a page where, because they don't really do harm to their heroes, right. They're not going to show them injured necessarily. So it's like people in the background and stuff.
Yeah, so it's basically just
on one page,
and then 1 or 2 pages that are altered. Yeah,
that's what I
makes sense. But whatever, that's still cool. Something different, something to make you buy.
I mean, you gotta keep changing the game. I mean,
yeah, they've rebranded because they went it was like their regular stuff, then they did like Marvel Now for a while, then they kind of rebranded again and all that stuff, right?
Kind of, but right now what they typically do is, like, you might have an Incredible Hulk like #1 or a Spider-Man #1, but the legacy number is still, like, some of them do legacy numbers. So it's like Amazing Spider-Man #1, but the legacy number is like 493.
Yeah. Well,
so, but honestly, I like that, because here's the deal: is why do they do #1s? I'm the perfect audience for it. I love #1s.
Right.
People don't want to go in and buy issue 30, especially of these comics that you have to follow. Now, if I know it's a single issue, if it's a single story issue, great. But they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They typically do 6 issues, like, into a trade paperback.
Yeah. Well, because then DC also did like a relaunch, rebrand.
Well, they usually redo,
right? They did the New 52, and then they did the other one with the Doomsday, which was the Rebirth, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they did Rebirth, and then they just started over again. And then now I think they're doing like Dawn of DC or something it's called. But you have to think, like, I mean, I don't blame them for doing it. I mean, but I just wish more people would buy comics. That would also help them to not have to do that. But
how do you keep up with all this though? Like, you can't.
You can't. I mean, especially most comics are $5 now. So if you go to the comic book store and pick up 2-3 books, now if you get a subscription folder, you can save some money. So I mean, I can walk out of there with like 6 or 7 books for like $20.
Not bad.
So I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, but yeah. I mean, it's hard because every week a new book is coming out.
Yeah. And all the different, people show up in other people's comic books. Like I was because I was asking you what like Constantine to start at, and you're like, I have no idea. So the one I was gonna just decide to jump in at was it Garth Ennis's run? He did a run of
yeah, he did a
Constantine,
run. I love Garth Ennis.
Yeah, after I got
Garth Ennis's Punisher. Yeah, Garth Ennis's Punisher. That's a fucking way to go, man.
I got that first one and really liked it because you told me about it. But the hard thing is to find all volume 2 omnibus, 3 and 4 of that Punisher Max or whatever it was, you can't find them. They're like out of print. So unless you get them digital,
I have like I have like 40 or 50 of the issues.
Dang.
Like the first 1 through whatever. I mean, I have the majority of that run. Wow. Because I collected it back in the day. There's a Mother Russia, I think, storyline that's fucking amazing. So yeah. Yeah, I'll bring up some comics next week, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see some of the ones I bring up, and we'll talk about them on air.
You know who watches us on YouTube?
The only way to watch us on YouTube, according to our friend Jason down at the dungeon. So yeah, Jason is our buddy. If you've heard us talk on this show before, you've heard him mention here, and you can go right down here on East Broadway, hit the roundabout. You'll go behind Southland Books, and underneath it in the back is the dungeon. Jason is chained up there selling all your magic wares such as tarot cards, and I was going to try to think of all weird other stuff, but I can't. That he doesn't like to sell, but I can't. No, he's got Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, VHS, tons of horror VHS. If you're looking for anything horror VHS, he might just have it. He's got a Monster Squad down there.
Oh, really?
On VHS, yeah. He posts stuff on Instagram all the time, so you can follow him on Southland_Dungeon. If you don't live in Maryville, don't worry. He, like I said, he's on Instagram, and you can follow him there. And if you see something you like, something rare that you may not be able to find anywhere else, or you just want a really good deal, then you can message him on Instagram, and he'll get in touch with you. So we appreciate them, and yeah, it's cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Now are we going on a roller coaster?
Let's go on a roller coaster, because I do want to talk about this movie a little bit. As much as we talk about him anyway.
Did you not like it?
No, I thought it was good, but I had a few issues with it for sure.
Like what? By the way, this is one of Jason's favorite movies, so he's going to drive to Denver and kick your ass.
Please do. So basically, I'm going to just kind of give an overview of this movie.
Yeah.
We get a lot of shots of well, Jason loves roller coasters, so it makes sense that he likes this. But yes. So we get just some shots of like a theme park, and then like a guy doing maintenance on it or whatever, and then he blows up a bomb on it, and it like blows up like like a little tiny piece of wood.
I mean, it blows the rail. Like it's supposed to have blown the rail, yeah.
Right, and it works and it serves its purpose. But I mean, that's what we get. But then we get this guy who he's an inspector, I guess.
Yeah, Harry Calder.
It reminded me so much of Halloween 3, where we have a doctor who's playing like a detective, essentially, to try to figure out like what's going on and why. And this guy has like so much power throughout this movie. He's like working with feds, working with cops, working with theme parks.
I mean, yes.
And I'm like, well, who is this guy, and what's he like? What's his thing? But no, I thought that was just kind of strange. But movies back then kind of could, I guess.
Well, I mean,
it's
it's nicer than just your typical like police procedural. You have somebody sort of like work. I mean, he's working with the police. I mean, he has power because he understands roller coasters more than anybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
it makes sense, and it wasn't a point that like took me out of the movie to where I couldn't watch it or anything. I just always think it's kind of funny when they make that like conscious decision.
No, I mean, I got you. So Harry Calder is played by George Siegel. Do you know who that is?
I know the name. Yeah,
it's Pops off of the Goldbergs.
Oh, yeah.
And he was also the boss and the dad in Just Shoot Me.
He was in a lot, right?
He's been in everything. But I swear to God, like it did not feel like I knew that name. And then when I looked him up, I was like, holy crap, that doesn't look anything like him.
No, he looks a lot different. He was in Look Who's Talking?
Yeah, he was Albert. He was the original father.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he was on. He's been in. He did some voice work for American Dad and a couple other cartoons too. But yeah, no, that's cool that he was in it. He passed away in 2021.
Yeah, they wrote him out of the Goldberg. They had him. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's and that like that, and then our villain that we have in this, like I didn't know exactly what his like motives and stuff were. They sort of try to get to it, but they don't at the same time.
I mean, they don't really give us one. I mean, which is fine.
Well, they made it out to be. He made it out to be that it was a money-driven thing. He just wanted to extort these guys
for $1 million.
But then he's like, "You ruined it. You ruined it. They put pixie dust on it, and now you're gonna pay." And I was like, "Okay," but like, I mean, overall, it's a lot of. It's a little too long, probably by about 10 minutes. I think an hour 40 to an hour 50 would be perfect for this movie. You could cut out a little bit of stuff, and I think it would work just as well, if not better, be a little more streamlined. I was, for a movie called Rollercoaster, I was hoping for more shots of roller coasters. And
I mean, I think there's some cool ones. The best scene. Huh?
The battling roller coasters where that kid's like, "I'm gonna beat you, mister," and I'm like, "Dude, it's on a track. You ain't gonna beat nothing."
Yeah, it's like a teenager, and he's like, "We're gonna win." And no, my favorite part is he's just on the roller coaster like this in a suit, and he's got his sunglasses on, and he's just like
sitting next to a briefcase.
Yeah, and just barely moving, and it's just funny. Some of the shots of the roller coaster is really cool. You get some really cool first person perspectives. I don't know. I like the way it was shot. And towards the end, we get this sort of like I said, I mean, the movie's not as action packed as Speed or anything, but the cat and mouse game and sort of the like different scenarios, like first off, this roller coaster crash is something to be seen. It's amazing. There's shit flying everywhere. These carts are just off literally off the rails. One goes like top side down, just squish like a bug.
One just falls like a book that you set on its spine, and it just falls. You could see the dummies in it. That was like when I laughed so hard. And then there's right before that part of the crash happens, you could tell there's a stuntman in one of the cars, and he gets thrown, and he gets thrown hard into the ground. And I was like, "Wow, that guy probably broke all of his legs, like all of his legs." And like, I was like, if that guy got up and walked away, like good on him. But like, wow. There's parts that are kind of fun in this, but like I said, it feels like a little too long most of the time. But there's some cool stuff too. Like I didn't hate this at all.
No, I enjoy it. Look, it's kind of. I mean, Black Sunday does do a little better job with the tension, but I will say Timothy Bottoms as the young man. They never really give him his name, except I did read. I don't remember what the name was, but in the novelization of Roller Coaster, he does have a name.
Oh, okay. I think the subtitles just call him Young Man or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally his name is Young Man. Okay. I mean, even on IMDb, it's just Young Man. So he never really has a name, but I ruined it. I shouldn't have told you because you wouldn't have guessed it because I didn't guess it.
Oh.
But this is somebody's very first acting job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she looks exactly the same. And I don't know why I didn't realize it was her, but Miss Helen Hunt from Twister and Mad About You and Twister. She's in this movie like a teenager. She plays his daughter. And yeah, she's got the squinty eyes. And it's Helen Hunt.
You were like, hey, see if you could spot her. And I was like, well, it's probably that lady that looks exactly like Helen Hunt. But yeah, no, there was that. And there's one scene I do. It's not even a scene. It's so much just a little sequence that happens. But our villain goes back out to his car at one point to like re-up his bomb. And his briefcase, he's like looking around, and then he just opens his briefcase and he like unfolds it, and it's got all these perfectly placed like bomb creating devices.
You got to be prepared, man.
And I was laughing at that just because like I was like, all right, this guy, come on now, what is his deal? And I did like the big giant like corporate like meeting they have of all the like theme park people. They get together like,
and there's a thing in the lamp with listening to him.
They're like, what's going on? He's trying to extort us. That's bad for business. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Just let the people die. And that guy's like, no, we can't do that. And they're like, oh, you're right. Okay, fine. Mark the bills. It's so weird. Like, 77, but no, it's a decent movie.
It's worth watching. I mean, I feel pretty solid so far that Black Sunday and Rollercoaster are both movies that you should watch if you're in the mood for a suspense thriller kind of thing. I think they're solid movies. They're a little long in the tooth, so to speak, but a lot of movies are, so can't hold that against them. I mean, but when you and this was filmed in glorious Sensu sound.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, Sensurround.
Sensurround. Yeah,
I guess that's just attaching microphones to loud roller coasters and like theme park stuff.
Yeah, and I guess they cut it out because there was not a warning, but the thing. It said if you don't hear it in the I guess it's the rails, right? Like of the roller coaster, like you're supposed to be able to hear it in both speakers and like it was surround sound before surround sound.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of cool, kind of a gimmick, but it reminds me of like the Tingler and stuff like that, where just those gimmicks that were kind of cool back in the day. Like William Castle really delivered on those back then. But
these movies are like adult, like my mom and dad would go see movies. These were serious movies, and they were like for going to the movies. Like it's just a different time if you think about it.
Yeah, and I mean, these two movies that we've watched so far, and then Airplane next week.
Airport. Big difference.
Yeah, Airport. I knew I was going to do that.
I'm down for watching Airplane. I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, we should.
What's your favorite part of Airplane?
Shirley.
Shirley's good. Mine is because I used to marshal planes when I was like 20 years old. And where the guy's marshaling the plane, he's like, where's the forklift? He's like, it's over there. And he's still waving, and the plane goes through the airport.
Yeah.
My favorite part.
Those three movies, I was going to, those three movies, if you wanted to have like a marathon, I think that's kind of like our idea behind this is you could, if you wanted to marathon those three movies in like a weekend or a day or something, you could do that. And again, Prophecy is one I would throw in there if you want to like a little more horror themed. The same, like, I mean, it's got a big disaster element to it. It's got like eco-terror. It's got animals. It's got like Prophecy is a really good movie. Like I don't think that movie gets enough credit.
I mean, it's my 5-star.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like all those movies, they kind of fall under that same feel for movies, but they're good. They're good movies.
Prophecy's a little too wacky to be in the same category, but if you want a little bit of, there's a rocket launcher, Jeff.
I mean, But like thematically, I guess, like, you know, the
Yes, no, I mean,
ecologically
it's filmed the
best.
same way. It's an adult. There's no wacky kids
Yeah,
and shit like that. So I think that's, if I was gonna say the '80s ruined one thing, it was that
they put kids in everything.
kids took over, like
Yeah,
teenagers took over, and
invaders from Mars.
somebody was in that from this movie.
What, really?
Yes, I was gonna mention it, and now I can't remember who.
Oh,
Maybe
I'll
George
tell you.
Siegel. I think it was George Siegel. Because Timothy Bottoms, I couldn't really find anything that stuck out. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Timothy Bottoms. He was in
Invader from
Invaders from
Mars.
Mars.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there you go, Timothy Bottoms. So,
that's funny that I brought that up.
Randomly.
Yeah,
All right. So yeah, that's Roller Coaster, and I really dig this as a poster, man. The binoculars with the roller coaster at the bottom. I really dig it.
I do too. And I told you they kind of splice him over that roller coaster in this artwork, and they use that shot in the movie like 3 or 4 times where he's like
Yeah,
looking
at the beginning, especially.
It looks really good. Like there's a lot of good camera work in this, especially for what it
Mhm.
is with like the movement and stuff. But yeah, it's a very competent, very well made movie, and very much worth a watch.
Yeah, and I'll say if you really like amusement parks, this is these were real amusement parks. I know one was Six Flags in California. But and so you get the kind of the taste of the roller coasters and other theme parks or other theme rides. There's one where there is a really good scene where he's like in this teacup thing, but it's in the sky.
Oh yeah,
And he's going through, and they're talking back and forth, him and the young man.
yeah.
So that's a really, I mean, I don't know if it's tense, but it is. You know, I like this movie more than you, but I know you don't hate it, but
Yeah, no,
like
it's a good movie. I don't know because I don't ever go to them, but are theme parks still popular? I mean, I feel like 70s to the 90s, like.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, theme parks are very popular. We have Dollywood 40 minutes from here. 50, well, about an hour from here, but Dollywood is very popular. I read on a list that it just surpassed Disney.
Oh wow.
Dollywood is I mean, it's a Dolly Parton theme park. I mean, it's got some great roller coasters though. Jason down at the dungeon loves it. He goes there every Sunday, and it's cool. We went to, I mean, we bought passes down in Orlando for Universal, and we went like 4 or 5 times in a year, and had a great time. It's Universal and Islands of Adventure, so it's like there's a lot of rides to do. And then when we went to California, we did Universal there, but Universal there is really small. It's very small. They're kind of landlocked. But they do have like the Mario Land already. They're building a new Fast and Furious roller coaster there.
Oh wow.
So but they're a little different, whereas roller coasters aren't a lot of times the focus. A lot of the focus is on these like technology rides and dark rides like Mario Kart. Mario Kart would be a cool like roller coaster type ride, but it's a game really. You have a steering wheel and you just shoot turtles and try to turtle shells out, and you're trying to beat the high score. And I mean, the theming is amazing. Technology is great, but I didn't much care for it as much as I wanted to. But there's a ride in Disney called Toy Story Mania, that's very popular that I think it was trying to emulate. But I mean, I mean, theme parks are popular, but they're also very expensive. I mean, a lot of times you're looking at $100 to $200 just to get in.
Yeah.
And then
you have to buy fast passes if you want to experience.
I mean, hell, just for parking can be $30.
Yeah, I can't. We have one in Denver Well, I think there's two, or there were two, but the main one is like Six Flags at Elitch Gardens. But I used to go there growing up, and that was fun. But now I couldn't imagine. Like I'm pretty impatient, so like I would be like, I can't stand in this line and get sunburned moving like 4 inches at a time. Like
some of the lines are they do the
Disney's
lines a little
the
different. Well, they do the lines a little different most of the time, especially at Universal. They're inside mostly.
That's cool.
And there's theming, which that matters and it doesn't. The Spider-Man ride at Islands of Adventure is great. The theming is the Daily Bugle, so you're walking through like offices. And
that's cool.
And it's based on like the comic, not the movie. So it's really awesome.
And before we wrap, we would be silly not to mention it. Did you ever play the Rollercoaster Tycoon games?
Oh yeah, and I downloaded them for the Switch. But
really?
Yes. They're on the Switch.
Did you make the roller coaster that didn't have a loop, so you could just crash them into the ground?
Oh yeah. It either didn't complete the loop, or it completed and then just shot them into space.
You just turned the speed up way too high.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just because we were talking about roller coasters, but Instagram algorithms.
No, I played that all to hell, man. That was great.
Yeah, Instagram, my algorithm was like, hey, you mentioned a roller coaster once, so now I got to bring up all these posts. But some page, this guy builds like random like parks. He's like, this is just a park where you walk in a line the entire time. Just a bunch of like dumb things. It's kind of funny. And
oh yeah, I used to fuck around on that game all the time and just do stupid shit.
Yeah, that's what it's
well, that's it. We'll be back next week with Airport. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, what should they do, Jeff?
They should keep it bloody.
Because somebody has to.